What's going on, folks? Welcome back to Michigan Great Outdoors. I'm your host, Jason Strowski, aka the Polack, and today I have for you the UV 1K arrows. Let's get stuck in. All right, well, here they are, UV 1K. You know, there's a lot of speculation what UltraView was going to come out with when they made this drop. A lot of people were speculating arrows. Some people probably even leaked it a little bit, but they dropped the UV 1K arrows. The first ever 4.5mm arrows, I think, on the market. And, you know, they did it in typical UltraView fashion. It's flashy. The marketing is to the nines. And, you know, they put a lot of effort into really convincing you that this is a phenomenal product. You know, I've owned lots of UltraView equipment over the years. I've had the scope housing that I had an Excel sight that you could bolt it on with all the different lights on it. I had a hinge too that unfortunately I had a lot of problems with. UV button, which has been phenomenal, and then the UV stabilizer. I don't have it on this bow, but I've been playing around with that as well. So I have been a long time UltraView customer, and when I first saw the drop, my first impression of the arrows was, yeah, they look incredible, badass, but I was a little bit disgusted at the same time. And I think everybody was, looking at the price. You know, as these arrows shipped to your house, this is a 6-pack, they're $40 an arrow. So it's like $220 with tax shipping. It was like $243 to my door. And that's pretty crazy, especially when you can go on like knockon.com and you can order a set of built access arrows with wraps, all the jazz, for like 300 bucks. So man, the price was a shocker. And I started kind of watching the videos. I started kind of getting brought into the hype a little bit, the marketing machine that UltraView is. But one thing that kind of struck me was the 1K weave. They talked about the 1K weave. It's never been done before. And I thought it was kind of interesting when they started talking about the strength. But that 1K weave and the strength of the arrow kind of enticed me. And I said, you know what? I'm a YouTuber. I got a YouTube channel. I'm going to order 6 and I'm going to shoot them. And first things first, you look at the packaging, phenomenal, incredible packaging. I've worked in packaging, you know, unless they're buying these boxes in major volume, this is probably, I would say, anywhere from this has got to be a $20 to $40 box. It's hard to guesstimate, but this is an expensive box. I think it's cool. You know, you open it up, you know, just look inside. I mean, it's gorgeous. They have this foam in here. Everything's, you know, to the nines, UltraView way. But I just think it's kind of unnecessary. It's cool. You know, it's got magnets in it, but I'd rather just like ship it in a normal box and then just give me a better price. You know, that's more where I'm at. So just talking about the arrows themselves, my reasoning behind buying these arrows, and it wasn't just because I make YouTube videos and I just wanted to get a bunch of views. I kind of looked at what I've been building. So this is right here, this is an Easton 4mm axis. This is a 468 grain arrow. I've been shooting this last couple of years. I really like micro diameter shafts. This has been a good arrow. It's accurate. I feel like it's a little bit underspined, and honestly, they snap a lot. I've broken them in deer. Now I've recovered the deer that I've shot with them, but you know, I was breaking these at Total Archery Challenge, just hitting targets, you know, maybe nick a little branch and they were snapping. So these just haven't been the best for me. So then I was like, well, I'll go back to 5mm axis. I was shooting these for a while. The problem with 5mm axis in a 82-pound bow is you have to shoot that, you know, 260 spine, and that grains per inch is just so heavy when you get into 5mm. This is a 4-fletch heat vane with a wrap. It's 519. That's pretty heavy. It's more heavy than I want to be. I really want to be, I like to be somewhere between like 475 and 500. So this year I decided to make a Victory VAP TKO. And this was as short as I could make it. Now I did put a wrap on here in 4 heat vanes, and I ended up at 501. A little bit heavier than I wanted, but you know, that's the name of the game. When you're shooting high poundage bows, those grains per inch go up. Now this UltraView arrow is a 250 spine, and it's 10 grains per inch. So I was figuring that I might be able to get this down a little bit lower. And I did the little calculation thing on UltraView's website. You can put in your information. I have a, you know, 82-pound bow. I have a 30-inch draw, and it said I was supposed to be at 497 grains. I ended up at 498 grains. What's very interesting is all 6 arrows are within like 2 or 3 grains of each other at 498. So very impressive on the consistency. I was very interested in this 1K weave. You know, they're talking about how strong it is. You know, you're going to get a stiffer arrow, and this bow that I shoot really likes stiff arrows. So I'm very impressed with out of the box just looking at them. You know, the pattern of the carbon is different. It looks professional. It almost looks like an automotive type carbon, you know, something you'd see on like a Corvette or something. Just how tight this pattern is. It's really kind of, it's a sexy arrow. When you open this kit up and you look at it, it's just sexy. It's good to look at. Now, one of the things you'll see is I have red Nocks on here. The cool thing about these UltraView arrows that I discovered is they are 4.5 millimeter, but they do have a collar reducer here. So this is an Easton 4 millimeter Nock. It's just a red one, but you can get those and they fit just in there perfectly. The reason why I switched it is I didn't want to have to tie in a new, you know, Nock set here, because the black Nock that comes with it, the proprietary UV Nock, it's a little bit wider and it was really tight in there. And I knew as soon as I put it on my bow, I was like, oh, this ain't gonna work because it's gonna rob my accuracy. So you want to be able to put that arrow in there and you should get that positive snap. And there should be like a little bit of play in there. That's what you want. You can't, you know, have that too tight because you're not going to have accuracy. So if you don't know how to do that, you need to go to your bow shop and have them tie these in. When I first got these, I made the arrows and then I shot a 5-shot group, and they were a little bit low and a little bit just, you know, grouped down at the bottom, but they were probably a nice tight, like 2.5, 3-inch group, and that was at 40 yards. I hadn't tuned it, I hadn't done anything, and then I went back and I shot through paper. 4 shots, I was shooting a bullet hole, and I have a Hamskea rest on here, and this Hamskea is just incredible to tune. But within 4 shots, I was shooting a perfect hole through paper, and I took it out, and these arrows, they shoot really good. I'm not that great of a shot, and I feel like, I don't know if it was just because I was excited to shoot them, but I shot really well today. You know, I use a UV button. That's what I was using on this bow. I shoot that release really well, and I was just shooting really good. I don't know if my confidence is high today or if I was just excited to shoot, but the arrows were flying good. They were very consistent from 20 yards all the way out to, you know, I shot about 85 yards, very consistent flight. And I think with a little bit of time, I'm going to be able to dial these arrows in, and they're going to be a phenomenal arrow. I mean, I think they did a really good job on these arrows. They're impressive. When you look at the fletching, everything's just pretty. I mean, the fletching is supposedly some new injection molded type fletching. It kind of feels weird. It's like double tiered. There's like a thinner part and then a thicker part. The wrap is cool. It's just different. It's kind of like a classy looking arrow. And the packaging, I think, is cool, but it's so unnecessary. Just give me a better price. I don't need the fancy ass box. You know, the whole 1K weave thing is very interesting. They're talking about that this is a stronger arrow, that it's going to be more durable. Time will tell. I'm very interested in that, coming from those 4 millimeters that really just didn't hold up that great for me. Easton Axis 5 millimeter has been phenomenal, but this is kind of in the middle, that 4.5. You know, they shoot exceptionally fast out of this bow as well. I was getting 290, 291 feet per second on the chrono here. So they're screaming out of this bow. I like the white colors. just because when you shoot an animal, you're going to be able to see, you know, if it's a lung shot, if you got brisket, if you shot it in the guts, it's going to be really easy to tell. I think that's very important. I think, you know, shooting an arrow that you can really, that's kind of one of the reasons why I've always liked yellow, is because you can really tell what kind of blood you have in the arrow, and that's going to be extremely easy to do here. So overall, I'm very impressed. There's going to be a follow-up video down the road to see how I think about these arrows and say, I don't know, a month's time. But I just want to say this is like, you can't buy accuracy in archery. You have to practice. Don't think that if you buy these arrows, you're just suddenly going to be this great archer. You're not Crispy. You're not Colby. You're not freaking John Dudley. You don't see those guys, all the work that they put in. You know, I'm sure some of you guys shoot a lot, but those guys are shooting a tremendous amount of arrows. You know, Crispy, he's been a pro archer for a long time. You know, there's a reason why they're pushing these products. You know, they have a name for themselves. They have this marketing machine. What I want to say is just don't get caught up in the hype. Don't get caught up and to feel that I have to have these arrows. Do I think that they're worth the money? I have no clue. $40 an arrow is insane to me. I have never spent so much money on arrows in my entire life. When I had my old Matthews bow, I had Maxima red arrows, and I killed every freaking deer that walked in front of me. They were under 400 grains. They were cheap as hell, and they worked fine, but I practiced a lot. I practiced more than I do now. You can go to Walmart and buy V-Force arrows and kill deer. Don't feel like you have to buy these. These are a luxury, they're a want. And really, if you really think about what UltraView was trying to do, is they were appealing to somebody that wanted the best of the best, a one-stop shop, and something that you would take on a hunt of a lifetime. That's what I've seen. Nobody's forcing you to buy these. I'm certainly not. I just want to give you my experience. That's what I've always tried to do on this channel. I just reviewed the most expensive climbing sticks on the market. I'm not telling you to buy them, but I want to be able to give you an honest opinion. I am not affiliated with UltraView at all. I am probably like 50-50 whether I like UltraView that much, to be honest, because I had a Hinge 2. I think I owned 3 of them. They kept replacing them because they kept breaking on me. I had the UltraView scope, you know, the whole housing with the different cartridges and stuff. I think that thing's kind of junk compared to this. I mean, this Spot Hog is absolutely bulletproof. You know, the UltraView marketing pushes a lot of sales, and you know, they make some good products. The UV button is really nice. The stabilizers are nice. These arrows are freaking phenomenal, but the prices are kind of crazy. A lot of people don't like seeing stuff like this come out because it just seems like it's just driving up prices even more, because then, you know, you got John Dudley. Is he going to raise his prices on his custom arrows? You got Levi Morgan. Is he going to raise his prices? So they keep raising prices, and all of a sudden, you know, it prices everybody out. So I guess what I'm just trying to say is don't feel like you have to buy these. You can buy cheaper arrows and be successful. These Victory VAP TKOs are phenomenal. 95% of the people that watch this video are not going to see the difference between these two arrows. You're just not. If you're a casual archer, you're just not. You know, if you shoot every day and you really try and practice, I think you will see the difference, because these, I truly believe they're a phenomenal product, but you got to pay to play. One last thing that I wanted to touch on, I have a pile of broadheads here, and I took, this is a Wasp drone, and this is a tooth of an arrow, 4-blade. This is a Muzzy Trocar. I have the Lone Wolf head here. I have the Rage mechanical and the Sever. I put all of these heads on these arrows. Broadhead fit on the arrows were impeccable. The field tips that are on there are cool. They don't loosen up because of the little O-ring they have inside. So again, very cool arrows. We'll touch back in maybe a month or so, and I'll decide what I'm going to actually run for deer season. Am I going to run these, or am I going to just stick with these, which I've already kind of sighted my bow into, and time will tell. So if you like videos like this, please consider subscribing down below. I have a lot more videos coming up, mostly mobile hunting gear, but I do have some other archery products that I will show. As always, you're always going to get an honest review here and get my true honest opinions, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.